everybody and welcome back to the channel, and a quick video today just to have a preview look at another couple of projects that I'll be taking on now that the Airfix Vulcan is finished behind me. That's a kit that I finished off earlier on in the week, and I want to move fairly quickly on with the next aircraft project. So a few of you may have noticed a few episodes ago in the Corvette playlist that I had this kit out on the bench, and this is going to be the next big project in terms of an aviation build on the channel. It's Tamiya's 132 scale Mosquito 6. It's a kit that I've had probably a couple of years after it was released in, I think, 2015. So I've had this for about 4 years, along with some accessory sets which I'll also be using in this particular build. We'll have a quick look at those a bit later on. I'm not going to go through the box in this particular video. When we come to start the build, I'll have a quick look inside the box. But if you don't want to wait for that, there are plenty of reviews online, both video reviews and on websites like Hyperscale if you want to take a look. Some really good reviews of the kit, and it's universally recognised as one of the best, if not the best, Mosquito kit on the market today. So I'm really looking forward to getting into this one. As I said, we'll take a close look at the model in part 1 of the playlist next week. And although the kit is really well detailed, all the engines are present in the box. The gun bays are all fully detailed as well. Even though that's the case, I'll still be adding some more detail in the form of a couple of Brassin sets. We'll have a look at all of these in a minute. A couple of Brassin sets, the Eduard Big Ed set, and the one thing that I don't really like in Tamiya kits, even now after all these years, is the decal quality. They're often very thick, and I've never got them to look very convincing on a model. They take an awful lot of work to sort out. So I'm going to be using a Montex mask set for the insignia and the codes and serials and so on. So that'll avoid using the major Tamiya markings on the decal sheet. But I'll also be using a set of Barracuda stencils. The stencils are often an area where the decals are of moderate quality, where you're likely to run into problems, particularly with silvering. So hopefully the use of a set of good quality Barracuda decals should avoid that problem. So it's a full suite of Mosquito stencils there. And we've also got the Mosquito placards for the cockpit and a set of stencils for the cockpit as well. So we'll obviously take a good look at those when the time is right to do that. So in terms of what's in these detail sets, we will crack those boxes open and I'll show you what's in store in terms of that additional detailing. So we'll bring the camera over and have a look inside these boxes. So let's take a look at what I'm going to be adding to the Tamiya Mosquito kit. So I will leave a list of item codes in the video description, just in case you're interested in getting some of these sets if you're building the kit. Hopefully it'll just help you locate those a bit more easily. And I really went for this because it provides the national insignia, it provides the squadron codes and serial numbers. The Montex masks also provide the no step markings which go over the wing radiators. And this is an area that is often quite difficult to get right on a Mosquito because it's an area that's heavily studded with fixings and fasteners. And these, where they're provided as decals, are often provided as one-piece decals. So it's quite difficult to avoid getting silvering on them. So hopefully the use of a mask and spray paint will help to avoid that problem. The Montex mask also provides a full set of inside and outside canopy masks, but I don't really like to use vinyl masks on canopies. I don't think they seal very well, and I prefer to use the kabuki tape type rather than the mask. So they'll not be used, I don't think, on this particular build. So that's the Montex masks. This is a set of Barracuda decals, Mosquito cockpit stencils and placards. It's suitable for all marks, so whichever kit, if you've got any of the Hong Kong models 32 scale kits, you could use these on that as well. and these will add a bit more detail in terms of the placards and stencils, but also the instruments are a little bit more accurate as well than the Tamiya kit instruments. And finally, we've got the Barracuda external stencils. These are really important where you've got Tamiya decals. If you can at all, try and get some stencils to replace the Tamiya stencils, because it's one area that you might run into problems with. And again, the printing on these appears to be quite a bit better than the Tamiya, regardless of how thick the Tamiya ones are. These look to be a better looking product as well. So these three products together will negate the use of the Tamiya decals. The next thing that I'm going to have a look at is the big Ed set for the kit. So the big Ed set contains 4 items really. We've got an interior set, and I'll leave the references for these individual sets. If you're not interested in the big Ed set, you can obviously get all these separately, and I'll leave the codes for them in the video description. But first up, we've got an interior set. So in a lot of cases we'll be mixing and matching the Eduard parts for the instruments with the Barracuda cals, placards and instruments that we've just taken a look at. But this set also adds some additional detail in terms of the canopy framing and rudder pedals and other bits and pieces like that. So we will use quite a bit of that set. The next one is an exterior set. This is just a single fret really. There's not an awful lot to it. It provides the mud guards, straps for the fuel tanks. So we'll be using some of this. I don't think we'll use all of it. For example, we're not going to be looking at using the etched brass ignition harness. I'll be using wire for that. So it's hard to tell at the moment how much of that we'll use. I will be using the masking set, and this, as I said, is in kabuki tape rather than the Montex vinyl mask, so that will be a lot better, primarily for the canopy. And the original Big Ed set did contain a set of steel seat belts, but rather than using steel seat belts, I sold those on, and I'm going to replace them with a set of fabric seat belts. I think fabric seat belts with the separate buckles and so on look a lot better than steel ones, so they were a replacement and an extra for the Big Ed set. And the other thing that I've just noticed, it slid out of the Big Ed packet and I'd forgotten I'd got them, is a set of master gun barrels. So these are turned brass parts for the 4 303 machine guns in the nose and the 20mm cannons in the belly of the aeroplane. It's also got a pitot tube in, I think, as well, but I'd forgotten about those. That's a nice surprise. So going on to the 2 Brassin sets, the first one is an engine set, and this is the one that provides both port and starboard engines. I know that Eduard do a single engine rather than this pair that I've got in this set, but I can't remember off the top of my head if it's just one product for one side engine, whether you can buy either the port or the starboard. As I said, that's got both. I'll probably be building just one of the engines on the starboard side. And although I said that the Tamiya kit provides a lot of details in terms of the engine bays, these Brassin sets go to a different level. You can see the amount of resin that we've got in here to keep us busy. This is obviously for both engines, and there's also a complete set of engine cowling panels as well to replace the Tamiya ones. Using these parts will mean that I won't be able to employ the magnetised cowlings in the Tamiya kit. So the engine will be exposed permanently. I'm not going to be able to do the trick that Tamiya would have you do of being able to remove the panels to display the engine inside. But these are quite a bit more detailed than the Tamiya offering, even though, as I said, what's in the Tamiya box is still a very good start. And the last item that I'll be using almost entirely, and it's for the 20mm cannon pack in the underside of the aeroplane and the nose gun bay as well, with the 4 303 caliber machine guns in it. The set also provides a set of resin wheels with the masks and also a set of exhausts. Now they're also provided in the engine set obviously, So I'll have a spare set of exhausts if anybody's interested in acquiring some of those. So as you can see, although it's quite a bit simpler than the engine set that we just had a look at, there's still quite a bit of work in there to do, so plenty to keep us occupied. The wheels will save us quite a bit of time. The construction of the Tamiya wheels is fairly complicated. To avoid any mould lines on them, Tamiya mould their wheels as multi-part assemblies, whereas obviously these are solid resin and much more simple to put together. So one thing in the accessory sets that will save us time, definitely. So that's a quick look through the accessories that I'll be using on the model. And as I said, all the reference numbers for these products I'll leave in the video description, just in case you want to save a bit of time if you're going to order them yourselves. So I'm really excited to make a start on the Tamiya Mosquito. It's a really lovely looking aeroplane, and the Tamiya kit's one that I'm really looking forward to building. And I hope you're looking forward to seeing the build as it progresses. So that's all obviously a very big undertaking. There's a good few weeks work on this kit, especially with the additional detailing in these extra sets. The other series that I want to start off is a bit of a different approach. For those of you that have watched the channel for quite a while, you'll know that I do like to explain exactly what I'm doing as I'm doing it when I've been building, for example, the hood. And even a 1/72 scale model like the Vulcan, I do like to explain the particular methods that I'm using, and a lot of you do appreciate that, I know. But I wanted also to try another shorter format, and what I've decided to do is run a series of single episode builds, but with a common theme, and that theme will be aircraft of the aces, all in 1/48 scale. And because the Vulcan was such a difficult build, really, there was an awful lot of work to get a decent result with the Vulcan. I wanted something just to really relax, really chill out, and know that when I open the box I'm going to get a great result without too much effort. I just want that real relaxation time to recharge the batteries, really. So the first episode of that new style of series and that new Aces series will be Tamiya's P-51B Mustang. So this kit is from 1995, so it's over 25 years old now since this was released. I can't remember whether the P-51D or the B was the first one out. I can't remember now, it's so long ago. But for those of you that have never built a Tamiya P-51B, you ought to give it a try if you just want a chill out build, because there's nothing simpler. The engineering is absolutely fantastic. The kit goes together. I've built several of these and they go together without a hitch. There are one of two things that you can do just to improve the finish on the model, and we'll be covering that in the build. So as I said, I'll be running a bit of an experiment to see if I can condense a build of a kit like this into a single fairly short episode, probably no more than half an hour. So it'll be a quick run through build, mainly in video, very little audio on it, and I just want to see whether or not I can do that, just as an alternative to the other style of video that I've produced so far, which, as I said, has got a lot more detail in it and a lot more explanation. So we'll see how it goes. I'll be interested to see if I can do it. I am giving myself a little bit of a challenge with this kit because I can't just build it as it is. I've got the Eduard full detail set for it. That's the etched brass set. Whether or not I'll use the whole of the fret, I don't know. We'll have to see. As is often the case with Eduard etched parts, you don't actually need all of them, so we'll be a bit selective with those and see how it comes out. So as I indicated, all the builds in this short version series of builds will be of Aces aircraft. So in the case of this P-51, I'll be finishing it in the box art version, which is Don Gentile's Shangri-La. So as I said, with the Tamiya decals in the Mosquito kit, I'll also be replacing the decals in the Mustang as well, with an aftermarket set again for this same aircraft. It'll be interesting to compare that different style of video with the type of video that I've been used to producing so far, and we'll see how it compares. So that's what's coming up next. The Corvette build will continue as usual. That's a weekly regular slot on Friday night. I'll be doing the Mosquito and the Mustang as and when I can. Because I'm wanting that refresher build, I'll probably major on the P-51 and get that done over the space of a few days, I hope. But I'll also make a start on the cockpit of the Mosquito as well. So those of you that I know have been waiting for the 132 scale Mosquito build won't have long to wait. I'll get that underway next week. And maybe there'll be one or two of you that have got the Mosquito kit and I'll get it down off the shelf and build it along with me. I hope so. So I'll see you over the next few days when we get these kits underway. In the meantime, everybody, look after yourselves, stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.